In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our power, and the power of his Hamashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Revelation chapter 12, verse 7 to 11. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. And double honors to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Aharon coming back at you with a quick lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and today I want to go into something known as space strike weapons. All right, space strike weapons. And it's inspired by this speech that Ronald Reagan, all right, had given in regards to some form of alien threat. Okay, now this is going back to, I believe, the space strike weapons situation is going back to the 60s, if I'm not mistaken. All right, right around late 50s, early 60s, and so on and so forth. And that's when Esau started to build up his so-called nuclear armament in outer space. Okay, which is the space between the firmament and the earth. Okay, because we know that Esau cannot go past the firmament. All right, as is written in the book of Job. As a matter of fact, let's get that real quick. All right. All right, this is the book of Job, chapter 14 and verse 5. It says, Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Right? So ultimately, Esau comes up with these ideas of going into outer space and going into the moon and onto Mars and so on and so forth, which we know that that's all a fabrication and a lie, all right, that they always push. Again, them being the forgers of lies, right? Who knows what's even besides what's written in the scriptures, all right, what's in outer space is only water, right? You got water and living creatures that are in those waters, okay? And the only thing that divides that water from above and water from below is the firmament. You know what I mean? But Esau, all right, has this mindset that he's just going to go above and beyond the bounds that the Lord has created for him. Okay, he has his dominion over the earth, and that's it. You see, and he has that power. All right, and what has he done with it? Complete wickedness and destruction. Okay, so now that the truth came out, okay, 1960s, right, early 60s, right, starting from Elder Abba Bivens, okay, there was a strong vibration that befell the earth. Okay, there's a strong vibration that went throughout the whole entire earth, and that sent shockwaves through Esau's system. Okay, so now they had to, act upon that shockwave, and that's why they came up with this concept of what we have now as a so-called Space Force. Okay, a Space Force. Remember, I always say, ain't no war that's going on in outer space. All right, if you want to go against Russia, Russia is right here on Earth. If you want to go against China, China is right here on Earth. Okay, now you have intercontinental ballistic missiles that can get to these places within minutes. So what business do you have creating weapons in outer space? You know what I'm saying? Who you going to be fighting in outer space? All right. Well, we know who they're going to be fighting, as we just read in Revelation, the 12th chapter. Again, it's a prophecy. Whether they know it or not, they have to act on it because it's a prophecy that happens. And it happens between the powers of heaven, which starts with Yahushua and the rest of the angels, Michael and the rest. Okay. And Esau and his powers. Okay. So whoever Esau is going to be in these last days, they will be working towards that war, that intergalactic war. All right. We don't see the so-called Arabs doing that. We don't see the so-called Africans doing that. We don't see the so-called Chinese doing that. All right. It's the top of the top, which is the so-called white man. He's the one who's behind creating some form of outer space weapon, because he knows that the Heavenly Father's son, Yahushua, is going to be coming from outer space. Okay. He's not coming alone. As is written all throughout the scriptures, he's coming with an armada. Okay. A heavenly host. And it's going to be overpowering. And we're going to get that. All right. But before we do so, let's read a little bit about the space strike weapons. All right. And I believe I've done a video on this before. It was on some of my old channels. They got taken down. But so we're going to revisit that. All right. So it says here, space strike weapons, conventional nuclear laser beam, or any other type of space-based weapons intended to hit objects in space, in the Earth's atmosphere, or on the Earth's surface, and also those based elsewhere to hit space objects. Okay. Now, typically you hear the news, or NASA, right? The fraudulent agency known as NASA. All right. They always talk about, oh, there's some asteroid coming towards the Earth, and then they're going to try to, deflect it so it doesn't come over the Earth and it doesn't hit the Earth, and so on and so forth, which we know that's all BS. Okay. What they're trying to do, they say asteroids, but really those are angels. All right. Those are chariots that are flying in the atmosphere. Okay. Because we know ain't no rocks in a freaking sky somewhere that's just flying around. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these devils always got some funny story to tell. Asteroid is coming. Asteroid is coming. Where the asteroids at? They never hit the Earth. We never see the asteroids hitting the Earth though, right? But they tell you these exuberant stories about how some asteroid millions of years ago hit the Earth and all the dinosaurs disappeared. Come on. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's keep going. It says, objects in space. All right. This is in quotes. All right. Object in space is any object in outer space. Space object is an object in space placed on a flight trajectory which does not cross the Earth's surface. Space strike weapons are a new class of arms whose parameters and target orientation make them offensive. Okay, they're going on the offensive, right? That means that they're fighting against something that's coming towards the Earth. Okay, it says they are ready for immediate use and almost instantaneous operation since they work automatically. So now you can take that time that they created this weapon or these weapons, and you fast forward to 2025 with the whole life form of so-called AI. What kind of weapons do they have in outer space right now? See? So continuing, it says, in a very short time span, they can selectively, but on a mass scale, destroy targets located at great distances. See that? The range of these weapons is global. Okay? The range of these weapons is global. All right? The whole Earth. It says, stationed in near Earth orbits and equipped with a maneuvering system, they pose a danger to all states. right? And states could mean conditions, right? When you're in a condition, you're in a state. All right. It says space strike weapons can be a component part of ABM systems. Okay. Maybe it says select. Let me read that again. It says space strike weapons can be a component part of ABM systems, may be used to destroy the other side's space facilities, including early warning satellites, or to destroy targets in the atmosphere and on the Earth's surface. Okay. Together with strategic offensive arms, space strike weapons sharply increase offensive potential, creating the capacity to deliver a first strike in the hope of avoiding retaliation. In the hope. Okay? So what happens when you shoot your so-called offensive, your sharply offensive potential strikes, right? When you shoot them shits, right? Delivering the first strike and your hope of retaliation fails, then what? Then what? Because these things they pack a punch. So if anyone gets hit with these and they don't die, you know what they're gonna come down with, right? Let's keep going. It says the idea of developing space strike weapons has been propagated in the USA beginning in the late 50s. Here it is, we're in 2025. In the late 50s, they were already preparing for some form of conflict in the heavens. Okay? And at that time, ain't no China and Russia about to start going to war in outer space. No. In the 50s, they knew exactly what time it was because it lines up perfectly with not only this truth coming out, but also that encounter they had with that story, going back to the Black Jesus story. Remember what he said, right? He said the disdain that these people have for him is so strong, he's going to leave. But in the future, very near future, he's going to come back. And there's going to be a lot of men. He said men are going to become just like him. We're going to have... those men are going to develop spiritual power just like him. Okay? And what they're going to do is they're going to come in and institute righteousness upon the face of the earth. So there's going to be a war for that to happen. So you don't think these devils took that seriously? Remember, a lot of this information is so-called classified information. Okay? Because if the public was to know about it, they'll panic. You see? But the Lord, he already revealed it to his men. All throughout the scriptures, it's all written in there. You see? It says the USA was the first country to develop anti-satellite weapons, which was in 1959. In early 1960, around where the truth came out, right? Again, sending that shockwave through their system. All right. They saw, oh shit, the people that we had as slaves are here talking about their deliverance. They're here talking about somebody's going to come from outer space to come and deliver them. Like, what is this? We need to take this seriously. Because guess what? Around that same time, you had a lot of chariots coming around and buzzing around the White House, all right, the Capitol building, all right, and a lot of these military bases that have their so-called nuclear facilities. Okay, so it wasn't like everything the men of the Lord was saying, starting with in the 60s, was matching perfectly with what Esau was actually witnessing. See, so they had to do something about that. Like, okay, well, what these men are saying and what we've encountered, it makes perfect sense. You know what I'm saying? And of course, they've seen, you've had so-called pilots and astronauts, all right, that have came out and even said that they encountered beings that came from these so-called these so-called UFOs, which are chariots. And when they saw them, they said, damn, these men, tall black men. That's what they said. They said they'll look more like the Negro or the African-American man that you see here in America. But these men are they're very tall. He said, easily past 7 feet. Some of them 10 feet tall, and they look like they're here for war, is what he's saying. What is what they say. There's a clip. I don't know if I still have it on my phone. If I do, I'll put it in post-production. And this man was frightened. And the lady was interviewing him, asking him, so what did you see? And he said, they were black people. They were black. and they were coming off these ships, and my God, they were tall and black, Hey, devils, man. The truth of the power, right, that comes from this truth, what I'm saying? The power that they witness, it baffles them. They get so mad about that because they're like, damn, we don't see no Edomite that has this kind of power that we fear. There's always some black people. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean that these people that we have here in slavery are actually the people? Yeah, they know, but they pretend not to know. You see? And the evidence keeps on confounding them more and more and more. So of course they're gonna build some shit like the space strike weapons. So let's keep going. It says in early 1960, the first land-based and anti-satellite complexes were deployed on Pacific Islands and in California. And see what's going on in California? All right, it's just the beginning. You're gonna have multiple states all catching hell very soon. All these major cities in these different major states, you're gonna start seeing them again. In 2nd Ezra, it says what? The cities shall be troubled and men shall be afraid. Okay? So all those troubles, hey, it's coming. 2025 is going to be that year. It says the Reagan administration made particularly dangerous steps toward developing space strike weapons. In 1981, the U.S. president issued a directive which set the task of achieving U.S. scientific and technological superiority over the USSR in the use of outer space for military purposes. Okay, now I believe it is Ronald Reagan that I forget exactly what state it was. I don't know if it was Washington, but it was somewhere, and something had happened with a so-called UFO, and he got a briefing, intelligence briefing on it, and when he came out of that briefing, he said, no, we got to do something about this. All right. Then he started to take the whole concept of UFOs and, aliens. And he started to take that shit very, very seriously because he's like, hold up, this stuff that I just saw, if this is the power that these people, these entities are coming with, we have to do something about it because we don't stand a chance. OK, and that's what led him to go give that speech, I believe, in the UN. OK, I'll find that and I'll put it in post-production as well. OK, but he saw things, and I believe they've revealed similar things to Trump as well. See, but Trump is on a different level when it comes to his pride. OK, but the Lord gonna break him. The Lord gonna break him. There's no new thing under the sun. All right, the Lord's gonna break him. OK, he has a job to do. Once that job is done, he's gonna get broken, just like all these other Edomites. All right. So continuing, it says, we read that already. It says, in March 1983, he advanced the idea of developing a large-scale ABM system with space-based components, SDI, which I believe is Strategic Defense Initiative, if I'm not mistaken, which has come to be known as the Star Wars program. Okay, it provides for an extensive effort to develop and test space strike weapons, which are viewed as a key element of the ABM system. Now, let me see something here. ABM. There you go. It's a anti-ballistic missile system. That's what ABM is, right? Right. Just so when they put the abbreviation, it's good to know what it means, so it makes more sense when you're reading it. Right. So it says nuclear weapons, so-called nuclear pumped X-ray lasers, are to form the basis of a number of space strike weapons, which is one reason why the U.S. does not want to agree to prohibition of nuclear weapon tests. See, but you see that's the hypocrisy. They want all these other nations and countries not to be able to develop any type of nuclear arsenal except for them. You see the hypocrisy? It says, as a part of the preparations for deploying arms in space, a special space command and a joint command have been set up in the U.S. Armed Forces. Work is underway to build cosmodromes for shuttles, and other practical steps are being taken to militarize outer space, right? Hence you have the Space Force. Okay. And lo and behold, Elon Musk, Okay, Trump came up with the Space Force in his first 4 years, and now you have Elon Musk, who's working side by side with Trump, who's the one who's working with SpaceX. Okay, and within SpaceX they have a so-called satellite, or not a satellite. What's this thing called? It's called a Dragon. I forget exactly what device it is. Okay, but they call it the Dragon. Why would you? Out of all the names you could have named this thing, you won't call it the Dragon? That goes into outer space. That's going to be on the so-called Space Force. And we read Revelation 12 chapter about Michael fighting with his angels against the dragon and his angels. It's just Esau, man. You're just too proud. You know, you're too proud that you end up fulfilling your own destruction, which is prophecy. You know, pride goeth before a fall. You know, so continuing, it says, work on developing space strike weapons is being conducted in the U.S. parallel with the stockpiling of offensive nuclear weapons, aiming at enhancing the American first strike potential, achieving military strategic superiority over the USSR, and giving the USA a dominant position in the world. Salakia, 1 second. Continuing, it says, the Soviet Union has always wanted space to be used exclusively for peaceful purposes. Right? Weapons in space would open a new sphere of military competition, spread the arms race to space, intensify the arms race in every direction, increase the spending of material and intellectual resources to an unprecedented level, and enhance the risk of nuclear war. Well, we're closer to nuclear war now than ever before. So, fun times ahead, right? It says, the Soviet Comprehensive Program, or the Soviet Comprehensive Program of Disarmament provides for ridding humanity of nuclear and other types of mass destruction weapons by the end of the century. And this was back in 1986. Okay. It says, calling for a mutual renunciation by the USSR and the USA of the development, testing, and deployment of space strike weapons as an obligatory measure at the first stage, the involvement of other states at the second stage, with the obligatory participation of the leading industrial powers, and the establishment of strict monitoring of the agreement up to and including the opening of laboratories for inspection. We know the Americans they're not going to fulfill this type of so-called agreement. That's why it doesn't exist. See? That's why it doesn't exist. All right. It says, in the package of major measures advanced at the October 1986 Soviet American, wow, what a name. Let's try this. Reykjavik, right? Reykjavik. Reykjavik, right? Let's go with that. Okay, summit. The Soviet Union made an important compromise step in proposing the SDI research and testing be confined to laboratories, seeing this as a very important condition for liquidating all Soviet and American nuclear arsenals by 1996, and urged that full-scale talks begin on a full nuclear test ban. However, here's the key. However, the U.S., striving to continue preparations for Star Wars, including the testing of space strike weapons in outer space, became the main obstacle to agreement on liquidating the nuclear danger. Now, why do you think that is? Because the Americans know that the prophets have already told you that, hey, this land is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear destruction. And the Heavenly Father is going to send his son back down with his angels to come and make war against you and your people. See? So there ain't no way they're gonna agree to some shit like that. They're like, nigga, well, guess what? The angels ain't coming for you niggas. They coming for us. So we need to do everything in our power to make sure that, we could say, hey, listen, we're doing this to protect ourselves. From who? Not from the Soviets, because they're trying to come to an agreement, right? Not the Chinese, because they're not even part of this shit. So why don't you want to come to the table and make an agreement? Because they know in the future, right, very near future, there's going to be a war, a conflict, what is known as intergalactic war. And that's biblical prophecy. Okay? There's nothing they can do about it. All right? So let's get that real quick to show you that there's nothing they can do about it. And that's the end of the space strike weapons. All right? And before I go into it, let's read the quote from Ronald Reagan. Okay? It says, in his speech on the United Nations, to the United Nations General Assembly on September 21st, 1987, right? Ronald Reagan mentioned the concept of an alien threat as a metaphor to illustrate the potential for unity among nations. Reagan suggested that if humanity faced a common external threat, such as an alien invasion, it might help to dissolve the differences and conflicts that exist among countries. He questioned whether an alien force was already among us, referring to war and the threat of war as something more alien to humanity's aspirations for peace and unity. Nope, that's not what he meant. Okay, that's not what he meant, because that Black Jesus story really sent shockwaves through their system. And right around that time is when you start to see the truth really pick up. In the 1980s, that's why he started putting crack in the so-called Black and brown communities, the Tuskegee experiments, and all these different things that was happening. It was all to what? To dissolve the growth of Jake. Like, yo, what if, they had this mindset of the so-called Black Messiah, right? We can't have a Black Messiah. We can't, we can't have none of that, because if somebody comes in that has that power and influence of positivity, and he can get these people up off their feet after we've been beating them down all these years, what the hell are they going to do to us? You see, Esau will never he'll never deal with us on a level playing field. This system is built to keep us down from the beginning, from birth to death. Because just on the level playing field, we blown them out the water. There's no competition. And he knows that. You see? So he's not going to risk it or chance it by saying, well, you know what? We're all equal. Nigga, we was 3/5 of a man. 3/5 of a man. What the fuck does that even mean? And you want us to be all cool and everything? Now that we got the truth and we're finally waking up, you want to talk about, oh, that's a hate group and this and that? A hate group? You forgot about your people, the KKK? You forgot about the lynchings? You forgot about all the atrocities that you did to our people? Who in their right mind was going to go through all that and suffer the trauma now? All the things that Jake is going through now is just a side effect of what we went through back then. And of course, it was the punishment from our Heavenly Father. But whose hands did the Lord use that? You Edomites. So now the time has come that we waking up to who we are. All of a sudden, it's, oh, let's all come together. We can all be saved. We can all be saved. No, you ain't going to escape this ass whooping. He that leadeth into captivity shall what? Shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the faith and the patience of the saints. Okay? So you're going to have to get that ass whooping. Anyway, let's keep going. It says, Reagan's speech included the following notable quote. And that quote, it says, in our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps, maybe you should have thought about that when you had us at the bottom of your feet, quite literally. Okay, when you were using our little babies as alligator bait. Okay, when you were lynching brothers, you're chopping off their rod, you put it in a damn jar, and then you keep it in your living room. What about picnics? Pick a nigga. Every Sunday after church, you go out there, you find what nigga you want to pick, and then you go lynch him, and all you guys party and drink to that. What about them times? What about the times where an innocent Jake, mind you, wouldn't do anything wrong, but just because of jealousy, your wicked ass women will go around and make all these false accusations and get Jake killed. Emmett Till is an example. Okay? So we don't want to hear about no, we can all be saved shit. You got to get your ass whooping first, and then we could talk about some saving. Damn devil. Anyway, continuing, it says, Going back to Ronald Reagan's quote, showing that he's in fear, was in fear, it says, perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond that y'all are wicked, right? I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? You're talking about the Israelites, okay? We're alien to their New World Order agenda because we have our own laws, and our laws forbids us from bowing the knee to any other God. That's our first law. So they know that. And that's why they try to keep us away from who we are and what we believe in. But it's too late, as you can see. Okay? So continuing, it says, what could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war? And it says, this speech resonated with the idea that a common external threat could bring nations together, and it was part of Reagan's broader message about the potential for global unity and peace. No, I'll tell you exactly what's going on here. Let the scriptures speak, okay? Now, this is what Ronald Reagan was actually alluding to, all right? Because you ain't going to create no space strike weapons because of what? Because of the thought of war breaking out. No, doesn't work like that, okay? You're not going to have a space force to fight against what? Who? Just the thought of war? No, it doesn't make sense. But let's read what the scriptures say, what they know. All right. Here's the book of 2 Ezra chapter 13. Start off at 1. It says, and it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. And that sea, remember what I said before, outer space is made out of water. So that sea is the oceans or the waters that's above the firmament. And Yahushua is going to crack the firmament and come down into our atmosphere. And that's where they're going to have those space strike weapons to fight against him. That's why when we're reading, it says they're going to be shooting from Earth, all right, into space to fight against any object that may be coming into our atmosphere. Okay? So they know that Yahushua is coming back. And guess what? Just like the devils that they are, here it is. You got a savior, the King of Kings himself making his return. And these niggas plan to fight against him. Make that make sense? And you tell me those are God's chosen people? Yeah, okay. So continuing, it says, verse 6, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. And that great mountain is talking about his chariot. Okay? His chariot, that gigantic machine, that indestructible machine. Man, whew. Man, it's like this, every time I think about that, I think of there's these type of machines that when they clang and they bang, you be like, damn, they just destroy. They don't bend, they don't crack, they don't, mend, nothing. It's just like all you hear is clang, bang, and it destroys. They use that kind of machine, right? That kind of metal to break other metals, that type of shit. It's like the meat grinder, that big ass meat grinder that just grinds. You throw everything, you throw bicycles, cars, buses, tires, horses, people, everything, houses. You throw anything in there, that should just grind the fuck out of it. But this type of fabric, the Yahushua's fathership, is just something otherworldly. It's like, what kind of element from this earth can we use to describe this thing here? It's like, what is this? And the only explanation Ezra could use was, it's a great mountain. This thing is huge. It could take millions of people. This thing is huge. And the sound that it makes, whew, it's just straight power, man. Straight power. Hey, that's why it's written. It says he's going to make his return with power and with great glory. You know, that power, man. I mean, damn, it's the return of the King of Kings. What the fuck you think he's going to be coming down with? He said, I shall not meet thee as a man. Because the things that he's coming with, his war armaments, everything is not manly. It's not like man-like. It's not no human-like. This is like otherworldly, like superhuman. Can't wait. So continuing, it says, verse 8, it says, oh no, continue verse 7 says, but I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. That's how big it is. It covered the whole entire skies. You know, he looked to his east, his northwest. He's like, damn, this thing, you know, just looking up, you just can't see the ends of it. That's how big it is, man. And you can imagine just how tiny we are compared to that chariot. You know, and that shows that he's going to be somewhat low enough for him to cover up, the whole entire skies. You know, blocking out the sun, everything is just like, damn, shit. And you see the lights shining in it, you know, man. So continuing, it says, hey, and you know what? That's why a lot of these insiders, they said that the technology that they're seeing that's coming from outer space, they call them alien technology, UAPs, and so on and so forth. They said that this technology is 100 to 1,000 years more advanced than anything that they have. Think about that. 100 to 1,000 years more advanced. God damn. Like, what kind of technology? You know? And that's just the Lord's play toys. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just using this just to play around, fuck around, just let you know something. Damn. 100 to 1,000 years more advanced. Man, we got great things coming, man. Esau, you're in trouble. You keep building your space weapons. That's the only thing you're gonna do just to keep this game fun, bro. Cause, man, look. Oh, look at here. All right, let's keep going. It says, verse 8. It says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him. Remember Reagan's speech. We all come together to fight against that alien threat. It says they were what? They were gathered together to subdue him, were sore afraid, right? And yet durst fight. Okay? That's why they need AI, because AI are just robots, machines. The people, they're not going to stand a chance. They're going to see Yahushua coming back with his angels. They're going to be like, no, we ain't doing this. This is what we got to fight against? Are you kidding me? Hey, boy, look at here. Not to mention, you got Leviathan, the Lord's Navy. Esau, you're fucked. All right, so continue. It says, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, right? The space strike weapons, their damn dragon and all this extra shit, right? The violence that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, right? So his command brought fire from the chariot, okay? And many different chariots. He's giving command with the war cry. What do you think is going to happen? His angels going to go buck wild. All right? The king has spoken. The captain has spoken. It's time for war. You know, his men are hungry for blood. Let's go. You know? So continuing, it says, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been, a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. That's the end of Esau right there. Okay, we just read about Esau. See, they have all this technology and everything to stop this very thing we just read in 2 Ezra, the 13th chapter. But guess what? The more you try to stop it, the faster you're leading to your own destruction. Because as technology increases, so does prophecy speed up. Okay? Let's get this last one and we're going to close it out. This is how quick this devil is going to be taken down. Okay? This is how quick this devil is going to be taken down. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 10. It says, actually, you know what? Let me see if I can go up a little bit more. Start off at verse 9. This is the lamentation for Babylon. All right. Revelation chapter 18 and verse 9, it says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, the same exact smoke that Ezra saw. That means what? A state of destruction and desolation. Think Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, this is the modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. You see what's going on in Cali? But at least you still see the structures. Once the Lord is done with this place, you ain't going to see no structures. This place is done, through, over with, out of there. All right. It says, verse 10, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city. Where's Trump talking about? Make America great again. This is a city of confusion. So if you want to make it great again, you want to make it even greater in confusion and wickedness? You devils are too proud. That's why you're going to be taken down. Okay? It says that mighty city, right? America is the greatest city on earth, is the greatest country on earth, militarily, economically, whatever you want to call it, right? That's what the world sees America as, the greatest country in the world, right? That great city, that mighty city. For in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So the visitation of the Lord results within 1 hour. This place is all done, over with. That's how quick it ends. So what war are you really talking about? What space strike weapons are you really going to be utilizing? What space force are you going to be using? Within 1 hour, your judgment is sentenced. Your sentence is already done. Like the verdict is there, sentence, you're done. All right, shackle them up. Let's get this ball rolling. Within 1 hour. All this AI bullshit, all this boastful speech that you be given, all right, within 1 hour, all that shit crushed, done. It says, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth her merchandise anymore, because she doesn't exist. Ain't nobody gonna be buying shit if you don't exist. It's over with, right? The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood, and all manner vessels of ivory, and all manner vessels of most precious wood, and of brass and iron and marble, right? All the expensive things that the celebrities wear and all this shit that they promote that makes everyone want to go work hard, 9-to-5 jobs, work 6 days, 7 days a week, just so you can go use that little precious money you have to go buy some of the stupid shit that they promote through propaganda. All that stuff, done away with. Over. It says, and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. Where else are you going to get all that? Shit, you could buy people here in America. It's called a black market. You could just do this sex trafficking, all this extra shit. People actually buy people. See? It's all done here in America. And guess what? All the top politicians do it. All the top so-called elites in this society, that's all they do. Okay? And nowadays it's being brought out to the point where it's almost normalized, where people don't even think too much into it. But this is what they do. All these underground tunnels that these Jays be crawling under, these rats be under, you know, they got this mattress that's filled with stains and shit. What the fuck you think they be doing that with? It says, and the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all the things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. Right? That's James the 5th chapter. Woe unto you, rich men. Okay? Your empire, your world, everything gets completely destroyed when our Lord gets back here. And that's game over for you. All right? So anyway, I'm going to leave it off there. Lord willing, you were edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Bahasham Ruach. This has been a lesson on space strike weapons. And once again, Lord willing, you are edified and informed. The water Yahweh Bashim Yahushai for the inspiration. And until next time, Shalom.